obligation as a nation and my obligation as an educator is to help children achieve their potential, participate in our democracy, and propel our economy forward. In today's world, that means our students must be prepared to compete, not on the basis of their test-taking skills, but on their ability to solve problems, analyze and apply knowledge, and work with others. Our goal is to make sure every child can get a great public education. And that's where the Common Core standards come in. I predict these standards will result in one of two outcomes. They will either lead to a revolution in teaching and learning, or they will end up in the overflowing dustbin of abandoned reforms, with people throwing up their hands and decrying that public schools just don't work. You can see the headline in the New York Post already, right? These standards, which hold such potential to create deeper learning, are instead creating a serious backlash as officials seek to make them count before we make them work. That's what we're seeing here in New York, as you've witnessed in the last few weeks, and it's happening throughout the country. With the tests that students here in New York have just taken, scores will drop. Not because there is less learning, but because the tests are evaluating skills and content these students have yet to be taught. Can you imagine, my friends, doctors being expected to perform a new medical procedure without being trained in it or provided the necessary instruments, simply told that there are some materials on a website? Of course not. But that's what we're doing with the Common Core. The fact that the changes are being made like this nationwide without anything close to the adequate preparation is a failure of leadership. It's a sign of a broken accountability system. And worse, it is an abdication of our moral responsibility to kids. So I cannot say this more simply. We are committed to the success of our students. That means getting this transition to Common Core standards right. That's why today I am calling for a moratorium on the stakes associated with the Common Core assessments. Hear me out. I'm proposing that states and districts work with educators to develop clear tasks and a clear timeline to put in place these crucial elements of Common Core. When states and districts get the alignment right, moving from standards to curriculum to classrooms to feedback and improvement, student success will follow. But until then, a moratorium on stakes is the only sensible choice. Let me be clear about what the moratorium is and isn't. We're not saying that students shouldn't be assessed. We're not saying that teachers shouldn't be evaluated. We're not saying that there shouldn't be standardized tests. We're talking about a moratorium on consequences for these transitional years. And it's kind of amazing that it's necessary to call on states and districts to implement the Common Core before making the new assessments count. But that's what I feel compelled to do today. So to anyone who's listening, and I'll say this across the country, districts, states, policymakers, administer student assessments, perform teacher evaluations, but use them to understand and respond to student and teacher needs in this transition. A quality implementation plan also means involving frontline educators who are responsible for engaging students in critical thinking, problem-solving, teamwork, and the other skills expected in the Common Core. Teachers rise to the occasion. The more input and supports they have, the more confident they are about mastering these significant instructional shifts. Field testing is important anytime a new process or product is introduced. Just ask successful businesses. For the Common Core, it would serve as a time when teachers can give and get feedback, share ideas, try out methods of teaching to the new standards in their classrooms every single day. When students complete only a small fraction of the tasks required of them, they get a failing grade. Yet when officials responsible for implementing the Common Core fail to do what's required of them, it's students, it's schools, it's teachers who pay the price. That's wrong. Everyone, and I mean everyone, who has responsibility for our children's education has to take responsibility for making sure the Common Core is supported, implemented, and evaluated correctly. This is our chance, maybe our once-in-a-lifetime chance, to realize the purpose of public education, to instill skills and knowledge, to instill a love of learning, to foster an informed and engaged citizenry, to build a stronger nation. This is our chance to ensure that every child can not just read, write, compute, but think, problem solve, work in teams, and be confident about their place in the world. This is our chance, and it must be our choice to get this right. If we are able to step on the accelerator of quality implementation and put the brake on the stakes, we can take advantage of this opportunity and guarantee that deeper and more rigorous standards will help lead to higher achievement for all of God's children. Thank you very much.